I'd now like to introduce Suzanne Grover, who is from Aberfan and who has been putting together the exhibition and, in fact, organising for some extraordinary poems to be read too at Merthyr. So, Suzanne, would you like to come up?
I'm just going to talk very, very briefly about Chuck's forthcoming exhibition at Red House in Merthyr. As Melanie said, I was born and brought up in Aberfan. I attended Pantglas School before going on to Quakers Yard Grammar School. My memories of the disaster are, as a 17-year-old, very vivid and everlasting, as lots of other people have said today. In 2005, I went up to Aberystwyth to see Chuck's exhibition at the National Library, and I found it profoundly moving. But not only that, it also transported me back to another time, because Chuck's work is also a remarkable social and historical record of life at that time. In April this year, a couple of Chuck's Aberfan photographs appeared on a Facebook page, and I wrote a comment. I said, wouldn't it be good if we could get Chuck's photographs exhibited in South Wales for the anniversary? And to my surprise, Chuck replied saying, I'd like to do this. Is there any way you can help to make it happen? Well, I think about 200 conversations and emails later between Chuck and I, and 5 months later, we have a new exhibition, a new digital exhibition, which includes not only Chuck's original photographs, but also many previously unseen images. It has Chuck's narration, it has music, and as today, it is Chuck's personal and very emotive story of 6 weeks in a community of survivors. I feel very privileged to have been given the opportunity to work with Chuck and to make this exhibition happen. We hope that the creation of a digital exhibition will enable new audiences and generations to learn about the disaster and its impact, and also to acknowledge the strength of the community in the face of this dreadful event. We also hope that it will provide meaningful opportunities for remembrance and for reflection. The flyers are outside on the table for the exhibition with the dates. It will run from the 13th of September until the 29th of October. We also have 2 special events. Next Monday, the 12th of September, we have the opening event in the Red House Theatre, which will feature a large screen showing of Chuck's new presentation. And we're privileged to have Chuck with us to launch the opening of the exhibition. Our second event is a bilingual poetry event with a second opportunity to see Chuck's presentation on the large screen. And we have 2 Welsh poets, Tony Curtis, who is with us, and Graham Davis, who will read the poems that they have written specially in response to the photographs for this exhibition. And I'm going to hand over now to Tony, who is going to read one of his poems and say a little bit about, I'm sorry, I pressed something. Oh, James did, okay. And say a little bit about the poetry component.
I'm here really because of 2 people, and they're both present. Suzanne, with vision and enthusiasm, approached me. We've known each other for a number of years. We live in Barry and are involved in some art support work there. And she introduced me to Chuck's work. It seemed to me that that was asking to be written about in a way. I'm one of those poets who has gone through the whole confessional thing and family members dying, all that stuff that you're supposed to write, and come out the other side. And what I do now in a almost, it's not solely what I do, but what I do is perform that kind of bardic role in a way. And I think my fellow poet, Welsh language poet Graham Davies would say the same, that in Wales, we're the only country that's got a national anthem that doesn't talk about guns. It talks about songs and poetry. I don't think, correct me, I don't think there's another national anthem that does that. If you're a poet in Wales, you don't just look at your navel, you look around you. You don't just voice your own issues, your own confessional concerns. You try and voice things for your wider community, for your family, for your wider community, and for your nation. And I think both Graham and I would feel that we wanted to do that. I'm from West Wales and didn't think I knew much about coal until, of course, I discovered that one of my family was a miner, at least one was a miner, in the Pembrokeshire coalfield. And on another occasion, I would want to remind people that the coalfield goes under Carmarthen Bay and goes out as far as Newgate in Pembrokeshire. So in a sense, anywhere in South Wales, you are in touch with coal, with the stuff, as well as its legacy. In '97, I did an anthology for Seren called Coal, a mining anthology for the whole mining experience in Britain, which Tony Benn did a foreword for. Graham Davies and I worked on 3 projects. We worked on a project 4 years ago called Common Sense, and the Common Sense with Gelli Gaer. And if you don't know Gelli Gaer Common, there is part of a Welsh legacy that goes from prehistory through the Romans down to post-industrial. And the clanking of coal trucks that one still hears from Gelli Gaer Common are the coal trucks that clank not far away from Suzanne's house in Barry on their way to the power station. Coal hasn't gone, it's still there. It performs a different function and is mined in a different way, but it's still part of who we are. We're still breathing it in. I've done a number of poems about the major events of the 20th century, the Holocaust, the Second World War, neither of which I was part of. I was born in '46. But again, I think that's something that, and I think we need to discuss that through the rest of the afternoon, really. To what extent can you come to an event which you're not actually involved in and pay homage to that event, be truthful about that event, without just being a disaster tourist, without taking advantage of that event? What Graham and I have done, what we'll present, and I hope what will be a video installation, both at the University of South Wales and other places, and hopefully in California with Chuck's kind permission, is called Aberfan Voices. We're trying to voice the experience of others, and we try to be truthful about that. I have a poem which deals with a little boy holding the airplane, and I am completely nonplussed by the fact that the little boy is sitting in front of me. And so I'm not going to read that one. This is where I was. Where were you when the old king died? Walking to the pit head with my butties. Where were you for peace in our time? In the parlour with Delith and our mother's new wireless. Where were you when the bombers came, holding the hand of a begging boy in the shivering dark? Where were you when the war ended? In the bath before our fire, hearing the church bells. Where were you for the coronation? A mile underneath her kingdom. Where were you when they put a dog in space? Down here. What about the missiles in Cuba? We was well out of reach in the Merthyr Vale, already buried. Where were you when the president was shot? Checking my lamp and opening my snap. Where were you when you heard about Aberfan? Mid-shift, working at the face, blinded with dust that the tears began to wash, and the mandrel dropped as my fists clenched, and I heard the distant howls of men. Thank you.